breaking into programming today to bring you this press conference of the latest on that intense fire on I-5. Take a listen.
The current oxygen tanks that are still on the truck. The driver was able to evacuate. The fire itself originated on the undercarriage of the flatbed truck, per the driver's report. Right now, we still have southbound mainland closed at Roanoke.
What were some of the difficulties in fighting this fire? I saw that there was trucks down below, getting water to it. What were some of the difficulties?
One of the challenges is access to fire hydrants. They're very spread apart along that particular stretch of freeway. We also had additional units go on the lower part of the expressways to be able to gain a different vantage point just in case the fire extended below the freeway. In this case it did, and we had crews there available on scene to extinguish that fire, as mentioned earlier. The other challenge is because this is a hazmat scene, and with the risks of additional oxygen tanks exploding, we had to keep a safe distance and pour water on the fire from a very far distance.
Let's talk about any structural damage to I-5.
WSDOT is currently conducting an assessment of the freeway. Please reach out to them for more information.
How's traffic? When we talk about traffic at the moment, I know Trooper Johnson, you came over here from Bellevue. How are things looking? How do you anticipate things going as we head later today?
Horrible. You know, with the heat, I mean, we have vehicles breaking down in the backups, overheating, the sun running out of gas, and it's hard for us to get to them. So in a situation like this, when I-5 is shut down, you know, we say take alternate routes. Well, all the alternate routes, as I found out personally, are completely gridlocked too. So if you don't have to travel this afternoon, stay where you are, stay at your office, stay at home, don't commute until this is cleared up. And like the fire department said here, the bridge inspectors are on the scene. Of course, they have to make sure the integrity of the bridge is there, and they can speak to kind of what that entails. But right now, the state patrol's part is essentially, you know, the road closure and trying to assist people that are in the backups.
I know you were venturing over to the east side. Can you kind of describe what your route was like to get here? Because it didn't take a while.
It did. So 405's picking up a lot of the overflow because people they want to go north, so they're before I-5 open, and even now that it's open, it's rush hour. It's completely gridlocked. So all the surrounding freeways are taking a hit because of this, because people are trying to. I mean, I'm sure they're using their map, their apps, and everything just is pretty much red right now.
What's the ballpark estimate you think we can see traffic being like this? Because it's not going away anytime soon.
Well, the problem with this occurred a little after 1 p.m., 1:20, I think we got the first call, and now we're rolling into the heart of rush hour. Now, anytime on I-5 during a weekday, especially or weekend, I mean, there's heavy traffic. So it's really going to be up to the bridge inspectors to be able to, you know, make sure the integrity of that structure, it's a raised structure, is intact before we let vehicles travel on that again.
Correct, and that's one of the reasons why we took this as a very safe precaution, engaging in the fire at a very safe distance because of the risk of those oxygen tanks exploding, as we've witnessed on scene. At the moment, the fire again is under control, and we're just monitoring the vehicle to make sure the temperatures are cooling down before we can fully disassemble those oxygen tanks that remain.
What can you tell us? Was there assembly? What exactly was on that truck? Do you know what?
To our knowledge, it was a flatbed truck that had liquid oxygen tanks on board.
So it's nothing but liquid oxygen as far as you know?
As far as we're able to confirm.
When you say how much oxygen they were carrying?
That is under investigation at this time.
When you say liquid oxygen tanks, I think we've talked about this earlier. It seems like they were individual smaller tanks.
From initial reports, that's what we know of so far.
What would start an explosion or cause an explosion?
From the initial reports, it was a mechanical failure of the vehicle itself, and that fire extended to the flatbed area and ignited several of the oxygen tanks. But again, that part of it is still under investigation.
Do we know who the company or which one belongs to?
Not at this time.
There's an emergency notification sent out to people living in the area. Is there ever an air quality issue or a danger to people living in the area?
Yes, we sent an Alert Seattle message for residents that were within half-a-mile radius of that area to close their windows and doors to prevent any further smoke inhalation from coming in. And people who either live or conduct business closer to that area, we did encourage them to shelter in place while those oxygen tanks were still on fire. At this time, that has been lifted.
Trooper, are you hearing anything else about cars overheating people? Because I mean, people are out there to stop. Are you hearing anything about other issues because of the backup?
No, I mean, typically, during rush hour, we get calls for cars overheated. We've had a number of car fires this past week also. So, we encourage people obviously to maintain their vehicles and make sure that doesn't happen. Right now, I think probably what you're running into is some frustration, a lot of frustration. So we're just encouraging people not to let that boil over into something, worse. But we're handling every call we get one by one. It's harder for us to get places now with the gridlock. Even though we have lights and sirens, sometimes parting that sea of traffic obviously doesn't go as quickly as we'd like it to.
There's a pocket of cars that are really just not moving, and it looks like along that bottom, it looks like they're unlikely to move. Is there anything that's going to be done to assist those people? I mean, even just maybe passing out waters.
I don't have any information on that. If it's going to be an extended closure, like further on in the evening, a lot of times we'll turn vehicles around that are stuck on the freeway and get them off the freeway. The problem with doing that right now is every side street off of I-5 in the downtown area is gridlocked too. So we need a place to put them. But if it's going to be an extended closure, like I said, we'll start working on plans on how to disseminate that traffic and get people off the freeway.
For the people that are stuck in that backup, what's your message to them?
Stay cool, stay hydrated. We want to open the freeway as quickly as we can, but it's out of our hands as far as the Department of Transportation has the say on that. Because we don't want a catastrophe of the bridge. There's an issue with the bridge. I haven't heard what the inspectors have said so far. I just know that it's still closed.
Would you guys expect to make that anticipation of, would you guys anticipate to make that determination of when the freeway will remain closed for the remainder of the evening, or would you put it out?
Department of Transportation inspectors will let us know, what the integrity is, if they think that something needs to be done prior to opening it. If not, then we'll open it. The tow truck's already on the scene, and I'm assuming working, and probably almost has the truck out of there after the fire department, rendered the vehicle safe to be able to move. So I know that we brought the tow truck up the wrong way on the Mercer ramp, so we could get that there and out of there as quickly as possible.
So WashDOT needs to make sure it's okay. Is ecology coming in because of the foam usage or anything?
To our knowledge, WashDOT has a water tender there to help clean the roadway, to clean off that foam. I don't have any further information than that.
The southbound express lanes are taking on, or the express lanes are taking on the southbound, some of the southbound traffic.
I believe so. I'm not positive if they turn the southbound, because typically this time of day the express lanes are going northbound. So, but I know that they're open. If they made the decision to move traffic south through the express lanes, then that'd be great. I just haven't heard. I can't confirm that right now.
And any time that you can remember, there was kind of this perfect storm of shutdown in this way.
Yeah, I can. I don't know how many years ago, but when the tanker rolled over, the propane tanker, double tanker, southbound I-5, south of, that would have been just south of downtown. We had north and southbound shut down for 6 to 7 hours. I think it was in January or something like that, like 4 or 5 years ago. So automatic stress when I started getting calls on this, because that was just a mess. And I think what Department of Transportation does a really good job at is, you see the VMS signs. So they push out the message, all the way up to Everett and maybe even further north, saying, listen, there's a closure in downtown Seattle, avoid that area. So that gives people the opportunity to take 405 or take other routes instead of getting caught in the mess.
How far are the backups going? Southeast, west?
Boy, I don't know. Pretty far. Department of Transportation is able to track that, but it's just, as you can see, southbound 5 initially and still is taking traffic off into Roanoke, and the city streets are just not designed to handle all the traffic that I-5 is, but we're trying to at least keep traffic moving somewhat, and that's the only way we can do it right now.
The question for you, we've seen video of the explosion, and it really looks like something out of a movie. The back of the truck driver was able to escape, and you see an explosion like that. How fortunate are we that no one was seriously hurt?
We are very fortunate that no injuries have been reported for this particular incident. Now, again, it did extend to a construction site nearby. Fortunately, our crews were able to get there on the scene in order to extinguish that fire and get it under control quickly. Any further questions?
Any other messaging for people?
If you have to travel through this area, just expect it to take a very long time. If you absolutely water and your gas tank's full. In fact, my wife was in the backup earlier when it first happened, and she was almost on empty, so she was able to get off and get some gas. But it's just things that you aren't. No one expects this to happen today, so you're not going out onto the roadway preparing for you to be sitting in traffic, for an hour, 2, 3. So, and the heat doesn't help because people get warm. The air conditioning creates, more work for the car to do. So it's just unfortunate, but like I said, we're going to get this cleared up as quickly as possible.
You brought up a very good point about people going up, or if they do have a job like what happens if cars run out of gas?
Well, we have Department of Transportation incident response trucks that do carry gas and provide like a gallon of gas for someone. But in a situation like this, if you run out of gas, you're probably going to need more than a gallon. And if they can get to you through the traffic too. So it's just all kind of a unfortunate situation for a lot of people out there.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so we broke into programming earlier to breaking news because this is some major impact going on in our region. We had a truck that caught fire around 1:30 this afternoon. It led to an explosion because it was carrying oxygen tanks. And so this is creating major gridlock. We had I-5 shut down in both directions for some time. We know that I-5 northbound is back open, and also a portion of I-5 south is open. But again, this is causing a ripple effect across our region. We want to bring in Aaron Mayofsky now. And Aaron, you are tracking everything for us right now. But as you heard, if you can, the best piece of advice is just to stay home at this time.
Yeah, I know in a situation like this, Hannah, we like to talk about alternate routes. Really, there are no alternate routes because all of the side streets, 99, buses, things are not going to get you where you need to go. I suggest maybe biking today or just staying at home. If you're needed to get across 520 westbound, I wouldn't even try it at this point. It is gridlocked, and you can see that from our maps. We've got major traffic jams, and travel times are up there so high that they're not even worth counting and letting you know about, because if you're traveling from Everett to Seattle, you're just not going to get there. And as you heard the troopers say and the public information officer talk about this situation, we're zoomed into the situation that's going here. This is northbound traffic along I-5. This is the heart of downtown, happening earlier this afternoon. Southbound traffic is where the accident happened with that truck with propane and oxygen. It blew up on the side of the road. Sounds like the driver was able to get out, but construction sites below were also needing to be checked on. Structures are going to be needing to be checked on. And also, we did have video earlier as we looked at this situation. We saw some of the fire billowing up over the structure, the signs that carry the reader boards, the interstate highway signs. Those look to be charred and on fire, so not sure if that will be even safe to drive under tonight. So this could be in for the long haul. Looking at the roads, this is 520, complete gridlock. We're seeing purple and reds all the way from East Lake, Wallingford, down through I-5. This is something that we're going to be managing, but again, just to get the message out there, it's not really a viable road or situation to go through. There are going to be probably plenty of people stuck out here in this situation as we look through. Even back towards Maple Leaf, you can see the backup, and then as we move through, we had 80 minutes before from southbound I-5 Everett to Seattle. Hannah, this situation is going to be one probably that's going to be going on sometime tonight into possibly tomorrow, so just plan accordingly if you need to travel along I-5 to get into the heart of downtown.
Yeah, so people just have to really wait it out and see. And right now, joining us live on the phone is Tom Pierce, communication specialist for the Washington State Department of Transportation. Thank you for joining us, Tom.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so we are looking at video right now, and on our screen we've got some dramatic video of what we believe obviously is that explosion there of that tanker truck. It was a flatbed and it was carrying oxygen tank, and it exploded, as we've been telling our viewers. But Tom, the big question tonight that everyone has is, how long do you think this closure is going to last for people out there?
We've got bridge crews heading out there now because we do need to check the sign structure to make sure that it is stable, and then we also need to check the bridge deck. So until they get out there and they can really have a good look at those things, we're not going to know how long this is going to take.
Did closure at this point, it's really anyone's guess because even washed out officials don't know at this time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we've got to get out and examine it. We can't just look at cameras and make our determinations.
So what can you tell people right now at this moment? I know that in your center, your crews are working really hard. You guys got cameras all over our state. What are some of the biggest trouble areas that you're seeing right now as far as gridlock goes?
Well, 520, because of course you can't go south on 520. From 520 to 5, excuse me. Northbound 5 is backed up. 405 is backed up in Bellevue all the way, simply because that's the main north-south route that's available right now. So, if you can put off your travel, then you should do that.
For those people that cannot say that they absolutely have to get somewhere, what are, I guess, the best alternate routes? I know that troopers were saying 405 at one point and 99. Are those also looking really bad right now?
Pretty much every road in the Seattle area is going to be backed up right now, simply because we have so many people that are getting off the freeway and they're onto the city street network. So we're seeing a lot of backups there. The one thing that could work if you're headed from the north and you have to get downtown is the light rail at Northgate.
Yeah, light rail is a great idea.
That's going to get really crowded too, simply because there will be people who need to get downtown, and they will take advantage of that, I'm sure.
And when you're looking at this video, we keep showing it over and over again because it is so dramatic. This is something you don't see on our highways. We do see vehicle fires here and there, but nothing like this. So what kind of manpower did it take to get this fire out really quickly? I know that WashDOT also had to send in resources in addition to firefighters, correct?
Well, we support the firefighters by sending in, our IRT trucks that go in there, and they go ahead and, they'll close the freeway, but it's really up to the firefighters. Unless it's a very, very small fire that they can hit with an extinguisher, our crews are not firefighters.
Right, and we know that they used foam as well, so all of the extra fire and the damage that probably have been happening there on that highway. Is there any way to know at this time, by just looking at this video, Tom, how serious the damage could be?
It's really hard to tell from pictures. We have crews that are headed out there from our bridge office, and they're specialists in this, and they'll get a good look at it, and they'll get a good read on it.
And as far as that sign, as you can see in that video, when it went up, it damaged the Mercer exit sign there. So that obviously you guys have to tend to as well, but that will probably come after the bridge inspection.
Well, we'll inspect that at roughly we'll have the crew there, so they will do the inspection of both pieces at once.
Okay. Before we go, Tom, is there anything that you want to tell the viewers that you think is important right now?
You know, if you can put off your trip, then that's definitely the best thing to do. If you have to travel, allow a lot of time. Wherever you go, you're going to run into backups. So, you know, only make a trip if you really need to do that.
Okay, good advice. Tom, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time tonight.
Thanks.
All right, so we want to continue this team coverage here. We want to go to our reporter, Alejandra Guzman. You are standing by, Alejandra, understand, with a state trooper.
Good evening. Yes, we are, and I can tell you that this is definitely an incident that took everyone by surprise, especially law enforcement right now as we continue to unfold exactly what happened around 1:20 this afternoon. We can tell you that the fire is definitely contained right now. The fire department is working to tow that truck right now, that flatbed that was carrying what we now know was just liquid oxygen. We heard several explosions. Now we're talking about how long we could anticipate for drivers to be stuck on I-5. And to talk a little bit about WSP's involvement, we do have Trooper Rick Johnson. Thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about, you guys have been out there. We're talking about the structural damage of I-5. What is being done right now to assess it?
Well, the Department of Transportation has their bridge inspectors there right now, and they'll determine the integrity of the bridge. And as soon as they give us the go-ahead, then obviously we'll open up the freeway. But right now, I don't have an ETA, and we know that all the side streets are just gridlock. And so once I get an ETA, of course, I'll push that out there.
You guys are also working on ensuring that drivers are staying safe right now as we continue to mention the traffic aspect of how it's being impacted. We're talking about drivers possibly being stranded out there for a couple of hours. You guys had some good safety tips to keep people safe, especially if they don't have to travel. You're advising them not to go anywhere.
Right. I mean, if you don't have to commute in this area right now, don't. I mean, and we're having cars overheating. We have individuals running out of gas, and it's just unfortunate, obviously, because a lot of people, they don't necessarily plan on this kind of gridlock when they leave on their normal commute. So we're just asking people to be patient. If you don't have to travel, don't travel, because every alternate route is going to be gridlock.
Getting back to that incident, though, it all unfolded around 1:20 this afternoon. We know that it was a flatbed truck carrying liquid oxygen. What would cause an explosion like this or an incident like this as the driver was on I-5?
Well, I mean, we get a number of car and truck fires, you know, especially during the summer. The fire, from what I understand, started in the undercarriage, and you know, the fire department would have to speak to what would cause one of those canisters to explode. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of heat from the fire, but thankfully the driver was able to get himself away from the vehicle before any of that happened.
We also know that a construction site was also a part of this fire explosion that developed and morphed into a much bigger situation. How are those construction workers? And you mentioned that the driver is doing okay.
Driver's doing great, and the fire, I don't know if it was one of the canisters, ended up going over the side of the freeway into a construction site where it ignited a fire, but the fire department did just a fabulous job. They were there quickly, put that out, so that became a non-issue, and they could focus their attention on making sure that truck is safe for us to be able to remove it from the freeway.
We heard that people had heard several explosions. Well, we don't know exactly how much liquid oxygen was on that tank. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know how many total, but I know that, you know, out of the utmost caution, the Seattle Fire Department wanted to clear the surrounding area, which makes complete sense to me. I mean, we're backed off, they're backed off, because, you know, it just wasn't a safe situation until they can get that cooled down, get the fire out, and assess it.
I know you're with WSP, but I know you're working with the fire department, so I think you can speak to a little bit about this. There was some concern for residents in the area for the smoke that was in the area. That has since been lifted.
Right, and that's what David, you know, from the Seattle Fire Department indicated. They made the decision to have people shelter in place, close your windows and doors, and that's the information they gave us also, and also put it on their social media, and then did the Seattle alert call and message to the surrounding community.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you keeping us updated. Of course, we're going to keep you posted on the very latest developments, both on air and on our website. Again, it is safe to say that I-5 will be closed for some time, and right now that shelter-in-place order has been lifted. Of course, we'll keep those very latest developments on air and online. Hannah, back to you.
All right, thank you, Alejandra. So we will, of course, continue to follow this big story. We'll be right back after this quick break.